Professor John Nkemnji, an elite from the BLM Division, Cameroon, who is well known worldwide for his several articles he has written for the benefit of Africans, who is as well a publisher and media consultant and, of course, a mentor to GASA Media, visited Cameroon from the US to witness the priestly ordination of his nephew, Reverend Cletus Aka. During his visit, he took out time to visit our office in Buea on April 19, 2023, where he had a training session with our staff who are student journalists, and they had the opportunity not only to talk with him in real life, but also to ask him questions about their career as journalists.
Pick one small item and dwell on it, and we'll note you for that. We will thank you for that. Yes. And again, having a talk within yourself is always important. Self-reflection is always important. The internet is there for research.
After the training session, I had the opportunity to sit with him one-on-one to discuss some key issues about African development, paying particular interest on the application of STEM approach of education in the BLM community. First, he tells us how Africans can design their own curriculum that can better benefit the African population and economy.
I think my article was looking at the fact that the educational system we have in Africa really is not geared towards liberating us, making us love ourselves, develop ourselves, develop our community, and be in tune with what is correct. So basically, I think we have something that is for a different environment and not for our African environment.
Then we focus on the STEM educational approach, which stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine, can be applicable in the BLM community.
When you talk about the STEMs, that is great, but is it adapted to our environment? I really do not think so. So what we are doing in Africa is trying to copy a model that was not designed for us. First of all, if we look at values, we look at the BLM person, what are some of the values that they really think are important that should be passed on to others, that will help them develop themselves and their environment? That I do not think is currently being practiced. It begins to involve parents, the community, local leaders, national leaders, and so on. I think in most African countries, parents and the local elites are not involved in education. They only come in when the schools want to raise funds for PTA or to build something. And we're really thinking about the mind. How can we liberate ourselves to think within our community, to think within ourselves? If you look deeply, the imported STEM value are for a global community. They are not for an African community. And that is well designed, because what we have currently is an importation of what goes on in other places.
Looking at the dilapidated structures, including schools in the BLM division that are almost collapsing, Professor Nkemnji advised how the STEM educational approach can be used to raise the BLM youth to be construction engineers, plumbing, and electrical engineers, so that the BLM locals will not hire labor from elsewhere to reconstruct these structures.
First thing is, I think, to work with what we have currently going on and to bring in local resources. If you look at most of the homes that are built at home in the BLM, the cement mixture is not too good. It's imported. The engineers were not really trained to come up with local material that will suit our environment. If you look at the roads, a boulder comes in at the wrong season, grades the road, and you have mud or you have landslide, and the drainage is not good. So if we're really to go into the local environment, we need to rethink, we need to change our mindset We will not be studying to write a concours so that we can go further and further. That is not bad, but I don't think that is the goal of education. The goal of education to me is to make us free ourselves, to make us develop ourselves, to work in partnership with everybody who is a resource person. And as I said, if parents are involved, it's there to ask for money. The Liberian people abroad have tried their very best to have a good impact on the home community, but things have not gone as much as I think they should have gone. The capitalistic economy, everybody is looking at how can I build a tall house because I saw one in Europe or somewhere and I want to imitate that style. How many families do we have? How many houses do we need? What about the town planning? So if you want to go back to the schools, we need to think of our topography. We need to think of our raw material or local materials. Long time ago, when people had what they call the floor, they will come build a house for you. The next week or the next day, they go build a house for somebody else with local materials. And many of those houses lasted long time. Unlike the cement that we bring in and it's not well mixed, the contractor wants as much money as they can get from that building. Going back to our values, I really don't think that education that we are currently receiving makes us love ourselves, love our community. It instead makes us want to write a test and go to another school or go to another environment without thinking of the local realities.
Even in agriculture, Lebialem is blessed with fertile soils and the locals produce varieties of food crops. And Professor Nkemnji was able to tell us how the STEM educational approach could be used to train Lebialem youth to be skillful in the area of food processing so as to be able to process and preserve the food which can be used all year round, and why not export some to other countries?
For the youth to do that, they have to completely retool their mind and say that, oh, I am going to start somewhere. I know some of friends who have tried gardening so that they can have crops at all, and vegetables at all times. It has gone to an extent, like you, I think you have a piggery. That's agriculture.
Yes, I do.
So that people can have their livelihood regardless of the time of the year. One thing you did was to not just look at the monetary part, but to look at how can I provide a service to my community, like GASA Media that I have been involved in and trying to push it further. This is not to make money, I know. This is to inform, to educate, to make people think differently about our environment, to make people know that I don't want to become rich overnight. I don't want to fly to Europe before I have an education. Education is all over us. Let's study the season. Let's look at the way our parents used to preserve either palm oil, food, meat, whatever. Long time ago, when people walked from the BLM to Calabar, they were able to produce bitter leaf with some other ingredient, so that without the refrigerator, their food will not get bad. If you look at the Bangla people, they have what they call a chu. If you look at the Bangla people, they have what they call atamanga. That's what our young students need to be thinking. Where are we coming from? Where are we going to? I looked at a video, I think a year or two ago. Many of the displaced students, they were doing cookery, and the teachers were there evaluating them. And I really felt so sorry for our students. But you cannot cook without a recipe. And the small stoves are there, and the students are there struggling. And the teacher has to pass some and fail some. That is not educating. That's not empowering the students. there would have been other ways for us to say, okay, you come from this area. What type of food crops will grow at this season or at this time? How can we preserve them? And empower the students and their parents and the communities to provide answer, and not just look at the textbook and say, oh, in cooking we need so much salt, so much pepper, so much time to cook this for it, the rice or the cake or whatever to come out right. If we talk about manga, I think that's a form of cake.
Of course.
If we talk about coffee, I think that's a form of cake. How are we going to get our students to know that that is valid, that is good, that's something that we can study? We can write our own books and promote our own values and cultures. That is what I want our researchers to do, so that they are not only flying abroad to do the research, but they are also helping the students to do the research and say, okay, some students will want to go past the GCE and do something else, but some students will want to remain in the environment and do something that is good for themselves and for their parents.
We spoke about healthcare, and going back to the STEM approach, he explained how medical personnel can be trained locally and that all focus shouldn't be on modern medicine, but locals should also use natural leaves to treat diseases.
Why don't we integrate the local native doctors?
That is it. There you go.
When you think of Lebanon or spraying, no medical facility will do a good job as much as our local people. There are many other diseases that the local medicine man may take good care of. Before the hospital came, there were illnesses and so on, but they were able to help the community. There are a variety of issues, a variety of tropical diseases that the medical people do not know about. If you fly from Cameroon to America and you have malaria, they don't have treatment for malaria. Most often they get it out from here for the treatment. And there are a few people now who are specialized on tropical disease that the Europeans do not know. So if we are able to integrate, to do our own research, STEM is very important. But STEM does not mean, let me copy what is in London or what is in Canada or so.
Okay.
It means, let me use my faculty to see how I can bring in science. So instead of just concocting medicine and giving you, I say, okay, we need so much medication to cure this, or we need to make it sanitary. A long time ago, maybe some of the tools were not sanitized. So we can combine our local knowledge with the imported knowledge, and that is really going to help with illnesses. I cannot overemphasize using our local resources, using our elders, using the native doctors, and even the medical doctors here too need to know that medicine did not just start from abroad. I think it started from Africa, but we are completely gone away from the roots.
Moving on, he disagrees with the ideology held by some parents that technical education should only be done by children who are not intelligent at school, while those that are intelligent go for general education, while recommending technical education to all the BLM youths. There is this conception amongst parents in Africa that a child that does not do well in school, that should be the child that should do technical education, while those that are very intelligent at school should do general education. What advice do you have to such parents?
That's a mistaken view. Every human being has a talent. Some of us are very good with our hands, technically. Some will create things, stories, beautiful stories. The African is very creative, very intelligent, but to an extent, I think they are misled because of the economic power. If you see our dresses here, they by far outweigh what comes from Europe. If we see our hairstyle and so on, coping with the environment, it's so good. The way we used to build our houses, it really could help us survive winter or summer. We have all left that to zinc and to blocks and so on. And again, if you think of our environment first and not how much money can I make immediately, OMBE or some other technical institutions are very, very good. I think in the French zone, they were more gifted or they were more encouraging in technical education than in the
general education.
Yes.
So let me just take, for example, these auto mechanics. It is because of this common mistake that parents make, thinking that children that are not intelligent at school should do technical education. Imagine, the auto mechanics, it has to do with cars that are transporting human beings.
Sure.
Now you are handing over that kind of very technical aspect to somebody who is not intelligent.
Skillful. They are intelligent in their own field. So it's a mistake that handwork or technical education is for those who are less capable.
In his last words, he insists that the STEM approach of education should not be a borrowed idea from elsewhere, but rather each community should look at what they have available in that community and see how they can use it to develop their own community.
I am very passionate as far as education is concerned. I studied in Cameroon, I studied abroad. I've done a lot of research on comparative education, and I've seen that let nobody deceive us that we are not intelligent. Let nobody deceive you that because you are doing the technical field, you are not intelligent. If you go abroad and you want to get a job, your technical skills will employ you more than your general education. So my advice is that the powers that be should rethink the whole structure. The students going in should be able to liberate themselves. And they're like, oh, they have told me that if I don't do sciences, I'm not bright. That is not true. We are losing our languages. We are following something that we think is going to happen. So my general advice is try as much as possible to tailor what you are studying to the environment. If I'm not able to go abroad, what will I do with what I have studied? If I went into car repairs and I do a good job, you'll be very rich.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I go to construction, I'm able to deal very well. Honestly, without trying to cut corner, you will be very, very rich.
So dear viewers, that was Professor John Nkemnji with us here at GASA Media. He came home for some family issues, but getting in contact with a man of such caliber, I couldn't just let him go without bringing him here to share this very vital information for the benefit of the public. You know, it is our goal here at GASA Media to ensure a sound and safe community. So, to note, Professor John Nkemnji is as well the CEO of Nkemnji Global Technology based in the US, which is a non-profit initiative set out to encourage low-cost technological training. It is not only a multimedia producer, it is a publisher, computer trainer, and a service provider. So if you're watching us and you have a book that you want to publish, you can contact Professor John Nkemnji through us here at GASA Media, and he's going to render you very quality services. So we thank you so much for tuning in to be a part of this program, and please don't go away without subscribing, like, share, and leave us your comments. Once more for presentation, I have been Gillette Atenken. Stay connected to GASA Media for the rest of the programs, and you have a wonderful day ahead.